The second issue for discussion is in regards to tax policy. And Mr. Roy,
I hope it's not the second issue, but I have it down as the fourth.
or the fourth.
Nobody likes to pay taxes. Nobody. But taxes are what we use to fund our budgets, and our budgets reflect our values and our choices. And they reflect the type of government that we want. When I get to Beacon Hill, one of the first things I'm going to ask is that we look at our tax policies. As noted earlier, I want to explore rolling back the sales tax to 5%, to put more money in your pockets so that you can spend and be the engine to drive this economy back. We also should be collecting online sales taxes from those out-of-state companies that have been harming our local businesses and economy. Massachusetts loses approximately $335 million in sales tax revenues to online and other remote sales. It's blatantly unfair, and it's impossible to defend. I don't understand why my opponent is opposed to collecting those taxes from out-of-state companies that do business in Massachusetts. It's penalizing and putting our local businesses out of work. These brick and mortar businesses that line Main Streets and downtowns throughout the Commonwealth, they're the folks in our local communities. They're supporting the local Little League teams. They're donating to our school facilities. They're helping out in the community. And they have to compete with companies like Amazon, who just by virtue of having an online site can offer a 6.25% discount. And I'm surprised that you wouldn't support that common sense approach. I do believe that as we emerge from this great recession, we should revisit not only the sales tax, but we should also examine the entire tax code to make it more fair and equitable. And I support taking a look at all taxes and lowering those that make sense in a balanced way. I'm going to fight unfunded mandates, which are another form of hidden tax. I'm going to ask that every bill that the legislature proposes be sent first to the auditor's office so they can determine what the local impact will be of that legislation. And I'm going to ask that we identify and require a funding source before any bill is passed. I'm going to ask that we look at tax haven abuses. I saw one study that showed that every Massachusetts taxpayer would have to pay an extra $636 to make up for the lost revenues from offshore abuse of offshore tax havens. Now, we'll be entering a legislature that has had no new taxes or fees for 3 years in a row. And I'm going to work to continue that effort to keep us emerging from the recession. And finally, I'm going to ask that the legislature look at tax credits. I'd like to see a real analysis of the benefits of those burdens, of those tax credits returning to the Massachusetts residents what they promised to do. Thank you very much.
So, issue number 4 is tax policy.
Very good. Before we get to that, Jeff, you know I like Jim Valley, and you know I respect Jim Valley, and it concerns me as somebody seeking public office that you would make a statement like you just did on this stage, that if somebody questions the performance of their government, somehow they're impugning an individual like Jim Valley. Don't do that, Jeff. I like that. I continue to question our state government, as I'm sure most of the folks, because they're investing their time being here, do. It's one of the great things about being an American. It's not a negative, Jeff. It's a good thing for us to do. It's part of this process. And if you take me up on that beer, I'd love to have you tell me over that beer how we're better off as a state if CEOs don't find our state as attractive, or if CEOs don't want to bring their jobs here, somehow we won't live as long. You can explain that to me over the beer. I'm not quite following it.
I'll be happy to, as long as you're buying.
We're taxed at one of the highest rates in the nation. The answer to our fiscal problems in this state is not to take more of your money. We don't have a revenue problem in this state. We have a spending problem. This is the difference between my political philosophy and the Democratic Party that's been in control. Let me say that again. The answer is not to give them more of your money. The answer is to cut wasteful spending. Another difference of opinion. My opponent opposes the tax-free weekend. He said on this date at a prior debate that he thinks we should do a study of this to see if this helps businesses. Well, I don't want to spend any of your tax money commissioning yet another study. All we need to do, Jeff, is get in our cars, drive one exit south on 495, and look at the line of traffic trying to get into the Rentham Outlet Mall on the tax-free weekend. It helps businesses. And the people in the state appreciate getting a break from taxes for one weekend as well. And I think they deserve it. So I don't agree with you. I think the tax-free weekend is good for businesses, and it's good for the folks that live in our community. And I would want to keep that in place. The internet-based taxes. Absolutely, that this is an issue for the brick and mortar businesses. And what I would advocate, if anything is done to collect those, that a reciprocal tax credit is given to the businesses that don't have internet-based sales yet. I mean, to simply start taxing these, all we're doing, Jeff, when we do that, is let's take the new Franklin High School, for example, which we were both so excited to see the groundbreaking at this past Saturday, and their wonderful technology center there. What we're teaching the students in that high school, if we take action like this where other states aren't, is we're teaching them, when you create your internet-based sales company, make sure you do it out of Franklin and out of the state of Massachusetts, because we're going to be one of the only states that do that. You have to be competitive with your neighbors or the jobs leave. That's what's happening. I'm in favor of a property tax exemption for seniors. I know you're in favor of some tax credits for seniors on property tax, but you're against an all-out exemption. I'm in favor of an exemption for seniors. I think that the seniors that have paid taxes their whole life and live in this community shouldn't have to face the choice of selling their home when they've got a fixed income just keeping up with increased property taxes. According to the Boston Business Journal this week, 21 communities have already submitted their property tax rates for fiscal year 2013, and all of them have gone up, many of them more than 20% just from last year. Folks on a fixed income can't manage this. People in our community need tax relief, not increased taxes. Thank you.